Welcome to the video world, and we're going to discuss today about gaseous exchange. What is gas exchange in plants? When we inhale, we breathe in a mixture of gases we need to survival. When we exhale, we breathe out the waste products, and in plants, carbon dioxide and water are two substances needed for survival. Carbon dioxide enters through the stomata, as you can see here, and the water is absorbed through roots of the plant and released as water vapor through stomata. Gas exchange in plants. In order to carry on photosynthesis, green plants need a supply of carbon dioxide and a means of disposing of oxygen. In order to carry on cellular respiration, plant cells need oxygen and a means of disposing of carbon dioxide, just as animal cells do. Unlike animals, plants have no specialized organs for gas exchange. The several reasons they can get along without them is first, each part of the plant take care of its own gas exchange needs. Although plants have an elaborate liquid transport system, it does not participate in gas transport. Next, roots, stems, and leaves respire at rates much lower than characteristic or characterized of animals. Only during photosynthesis are large volumes of gases exchanged, and each leaf is well adapted to take care of its own needs. The distance that gases must diffuse in even a large plant is not great. Each living cell in the plant is located close to the surface, while obvious for leaves. It is also true for systems, or especially stems. The only living cells in the stem are organized in thin layers just beneath the bark, and the cells in the interior are dead and serve only to provide mechanical support. Most of the living cells in a plant have at least part of their surface exposed to air. The loose packing of parenchyma cells in leaves, stems, and roots provides an interconnecting system of air spaces. Gases diffuse through air several thousand times faster than through water. Once oxygen and carbon dioxide reach the network of intercellular air spaces, they diffuse rapidly through them. Oxygen and carbon dioxide also pass through the cell wall and plasma membrane of the cell by diffusion. The diffusion of carbon dioxide may be aided by aquaporin channels inserted in the plasma membrane. Gas exchange occurs as a result of respiration. When carbon dioxide is extracted and oxygen taken up, and photosynthesis, when oxygen is excreted and carbon dioxide is taken up. The rate of gas exchange is affected by, first, the area available for diffusion, second, the distance over which diffusion occurs, third, the concentration gradient across the gas exchange surface, and last, the speed with which molecules diffuse through membranes. Efficient gas exchange system must have a large surface area to volume ratio, must be thin, must have mechanism for maintaining steep concentration gradients across themselves. Also, exchange system must have or must be permeable to gases. Single-celled organisms are aquatic and their cell surface membrane has a sufficiently large surface area to volume ratio to act as an efficient gas exchange surface. In larger organisms, permeable, thin, flat structures have all the properties of efficient gas exchange surfaces but need water to prevent their dehydration and give them mechanical support. Since the solubility of oxygen in water is low, organisms that obtain their oxygen from water can maintain only a low metabolic rate. In a small and thin organism, the distance from gas exchange surface to the inside of the organism is short enough for diffusion of gases to be efficient. Diffusion gradients are maintained because gases are continually used up or produced. In larger organisms, simple diffusion is not an efficient way of transporting gases between cells in the body and the gas exchange surface. In many animals, a blood circulatory system carries gases to and from the gas exchange surface. The gases carrying capacity of the blood is increased by respiratory pigments such as hemoglobin. Animals with the internal gas exchange surface ventilate it by passing fresh air or water through their respiratory system. Air usually flows in and out through the same pathway. Being like this requires little muscular activity. Denser water is passed in a one-directionally pathways over gills. In terrestrial plants, diffusion of gases through pores is sufficient to service the few living cells in its system or stem cortex and its thalloid leaves. In the roots, gas exchange is restricted to a small permeable area. Gaseous exchange in flowering plants. Flowering plants exchange gases through their leaves. In the light, there is a net intake of carbon dioxide of photosynthesis and a net output of oxygen from respiration. In the dark, there is a net intake of oxygen for respiration and a net output of carbon dioxide. Flowering plants exchange gases through their leaves. We have here as a review of respiration process. In the light, it intakes carbon dioxide and produces oxygen, while in the dark, it intakes oxygen and output for carbon dioxide. So thank you for listening to this